Ever wondered how the Rockefellers became one of the wealthiest families in the world? Well, it wasn't by chance, it was by design. Hey there, I'm Ryan, and today I'm not just sharing financial wisdom. I'm unraveling a generational strategy that transformed the Rockefeller fortune. Stick around because trust me, this isn't just for the uber wealthy. It's a blueprint that we can all learn from. You see, in the vast landscape of financial literacy, with just under 1 million followers across all social media platforms, I've noticed a burning desire inside of people to elevate their lives and their businesses. Today, we're going to be diving into something that I'm very passionate about, and that is financial literacy. Now, growing up, me and my family were lower middle class, normally living paycheck to paycheck, always having my mom tell me to turn lights off or to take quick showers so we wouldn't be using a ton of water. And my parents actually ended up getting divorced because all they would do is fight about money. So that is why I want to bring this type of content to you so that you can make sure that not only are you financially literate, but your children as well. And I hope that you pass this education down to them. So today I'll be breaking down the Rockefeller Waterfall method so that you can hopefully accomplish the exact same thing. Before we dive into specifics, ask yourself this. What if I told you that these strategies weren't only meant for the uber wealthy? That's right. Whether you are ultra wealthy or somebody who is just beginning their financial literacy journey, this can work for you. The principles that we are about to uncover can be applied to safeguard and grow your wealth generation after generation. So John D. Rockefeller wants to do something, and what he wanted to do was utilize strategies in different financial vehicles and put them all together so that he could make sure that he could pay the minimum amount of taxes possible and keep as much of his wealth within the family as possible. The thing with the United States, and something that I absolutely hate about the United States, is that they literally steal money from our pockets quite literally every day and multiple times a day. They tax you in the form of income tax, property tax, sales tax, estate tax, just to name a few. So essentially what they're trying to do is just shield themselves as much as they possibly could from these different various taxes. And what this does is it creates an endless amount of opportunity for your family, because the quickest way to increase your income or to increase the amount of money you have is to reduce your taxation. What happened to the Vanderbilts is a classic case of the erosion of wealth. From every generation to generation to generation, they were getting hit with estate taxes or inheritance taxes. So with erosion, as well as individuals in the family spending more than what they contributed to the family wealth, they lost pretty much all of their wealth within 4 generations. Really, the only thing that the Vanderbilts have left to the name is just Vanderbilt University. And I'll say this too. John D. Rockefeller hired lawyers, tax strategists, the best people in the financial industry all together to figure out how him and his family could keep as much money shielded to just them as possible. And the strategies that they figured out work, and they've worked for decades. So now let's go ahead and dive into what this design actually looked like. So the first thing that they did was ask themselves, how can we legally separate ourselves from the exposure of estate taxation? And what they came up with were the utilization of different types of trusts. Now, there's 2 main types of trusts, an irrevocable trust and a non-irrevocable trust. And they're pretty different. So there are many types of trusts in the United States, but there are 2 main categories of trusts. There is a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. A revocable trust is an agreement. It's a document that you created with specific types of agreements. And the nice thing about a revocable trust is that you can make modifications to the trust. You can change things. And probably one of the most important parts is that you actually still have ownership over all of the assets, and you have control of the assets. Now, with the irrevocable trust, it can never be changed. It's nearly impossible to change it. And one thing that a lot of people don't like is that you are literally giving up control control over the assets or the things that are inside of the trust. And on top of that, it's its own completely separate entity. It has its own tax ID number. You actually have to file, it has to file its own taxes. It is a complete separate entity from you. But then again, that's how you're getting out of paying estate taxes or that inheritance tax. It's key to note that there are really three different people who are involved with the trust. There's a grantor, there is the trustee, and the beneficiary. And the grantor is normally the individual who is creating the trust. The trustee is only the person who is going to be making sure that all the rules and all the things that you put down into the trust actually happen the way that you wrote. It's kind of like the person who's accountable to make sure that, the things that you wanted to happen actually end up happening. This could either be a family member. This could also be like your lawyer or a group of lawyers. And the beneficiary is normally the person who will then get whatever it is that was in the trust, right? So all these trust fund babies that you see flexing all their money and their cars and all these things on Instagram, they were listed as beneficiaries on trusts. Here's another thing that the Rockefellers have done that is extremely remarkable, and I cannot highlight this enough. They understood the power of a particular financial vehicle. And that tool, which may come to your surprise, is life insurance. But take note, not any type of normal term life insurance where you just get this term life policy so that if you happen to pass away prematurely that your kids or your wife will get cut a check. No, it's not that type of life insurance at all. It's a special type of life insurance that most people had never even heard about. What they used was cash value life insurance, permanent life insurance. So what the Rockefellers started to do is utilize the life insurance inside of the trust. Now, the irrevocable trust that you set up is going to be set up so that it's specifically designed to not only intake cash, but to also open up life insurance policies for the grantor of the trust. So essentially what this was doing is that for every dollar that would enter into the trust, multiple dollars would then be exited from the trust in the form of a death benefit. There is a lot of nuance here, so that's why I'm making this video, so that you can take something that is very complex and find it kind of broken down in a more simplified manner here in this video. And this trust continues to get funded with more and more money simply just due to the fact that the grantor is putting money into the trust. But when the grantor passes away, even more money is getting dumped into the trust because the beneficiary of the life insurance policy is the trust. But this is where the generation over generation over generation leverage comes into play, is because they didn't just stop with the grantor getting life insurance and the grantor's death benefit paying in. No. What they also did was get permanent life insurance policies on all of the children and all of the grandchildren, so that now they are having to put money. So now upon their death, eventually at some point in time, all that money will get paid into the family trust as well. And remember, like I said, the trustee is the person who has to make sure that they're doing what the grantor wrote in the trust. Well, if you're looking to do this, then when you're writing out the trust, you would have to mandate that the trustee gets life insurance on all new people of the family. So if someone was just born, well, now that they're born and that they're alive and that they're here, you need to get a life insurance policy on them. And you need to make the beneficiary of that life insurance policy the trust. And what that does is create perpetual wealth growth. And what this does is, even if there's a couple bad eggs of the family, it doesn't matter. No matter how much a specific individual in the family contributes to the family wealth, it doesn't matter how much they contributed, whether it was a lot or whether it was nothing, the death benefit is still going to pay out and probably bring in a lot more wealth into the family than what this specific individual might have been able to bring in. So think of it as like backup, right? So whether that family member did anything to advance the family at all, well, that life insurance policy is there so that if they don't do anything to advance the family forward, well, now this death benefit is there to advance the family forward, whether that specific individual did anything or not. The biggest pushback that I get when I post content about the Rockefeller Waterfall method is that people are always like, yes, this sounds great. This makes so much sense. It's amazing, but this will never work for me because I'm not uber wealthy. Or this will never work for me because I don't trust my family members. Or I get comments on my videos that say, oh, it must be nice to have a family that would actually do this. Well, here's the thing. A lot of the things that are written in the trust are mandated. Everything is mandated by the trustee. And the trustee doesn't always have to be a member of the family. It could be, like I mentioned earlier in the video, it could be a lawyer. It could be a group of lawyers. It could be, your wife. It could be anybody. And if you are one of those other people who just think that this won't work for you simply due to the fact that you're not ultra wealthy, my question for you is why? Why do you think that this won't work for you? Simply put, you just need to be in a position to where you have just a little bit of excess cash to build this stuff out. Like a trust is going to be, and I'm sorry to be blunt, but this is pretty much the truth. You basically just have to not be living paycheck to paycheck to make this work, right? You want to have some extra cash available to be funding these life insurance policies and to pay to get these trusts built and in force. And that's essentially it. How much you end up putting into these policies to leverage the cash value or to get the death benefit to a number that you want is up to you. You can go as big or as little as you want. This framework, this strategy can be used by anybody. It's just a matter of how large you scale it. And again, that just depends on how much wealth you have. So if you have a disposable income, ask yourself if you're willing to sacrifice what you want most for what you want now. Because obviously, if you're watching this video, then what you want most is to set something up so that your financial future and your family is taken care of. But are you willing to to take the step to get everything set up and to get everything set up properly so that you can get what you want most? Well, I guess we'll just have to find out. And so by setting this up, what you're doing is you're giving your family the opportunity to get access to a pool of wealth, because essentially all you're doing is just shifting money into an environment that's going to be accessible for future generations. And do it now. Don't wait and don't delay, because remember, at the end of the day, you have to get approved for life insurance. If you're healthy now, if you're healthy today, then get into it now and today. Because if you wait, a couple things are going to happen. You're getting older, which means it's going to get more expensive to insure you. And you run the risk of becoming ill. And now the opportunity that you had to get life insurance has now been foreclosed. You won't be able to get life insurance because you won't be able to get approved. Now you're completely incapable of executing on this strategy. So outside of the argument as to whether only ultra wealthy people can do this, the other thing that we get a lot is the battle between term or permanent life insurance. Now, the thing is with this specific method is that you're wanting to use a specific type of life insurance that is going to allow you to build cash value. Again, if you're watching this video, I would assume that you've probably heard of the phrase becoming your own bank or infinite banking. Well, that is exactly what the Rockefellers were doing with this method. And the reason why term life insurance does not work with this strategy is because you're only renting the life insurance for a little bit amount of time. So again, if the point of the strategy is for the death benefit to pay out into the trust, well, again, with this particular type of strategy, the individual is getting life insurance at birth, mandated from the guarantor, and the trustee has to do that. And the death benefit is supposed to pay out into the trust once that individual passes away. Well, term life insurance is only temporary life insurance for a specific type of term, and it's always going to be less than 30 years. And so you're renting life insurance. You don't own it. It's not permanent life insurance? Well, cash value life insurance is permanent life insurance. So the trustee mandated by the guarantor is going to get the permanent life insurance policy, the IUL, on the brand new born into the family person. And then that individual is now going to have a death benefit for the rest of their life because it's permanent life insurance. It's never going to expire. And the other crazy part of this whole process that the Rockefellers would leverage is the cash value component inside of these permanent life insurance policies, because the premium in which they're paying into the policy, a portion of that goes towards the cost of the actual insurance or the cost of the death benefit, and the other portion of those funds go into cash value. What's really nice about this is that the amount of cash value that you have, premium, principal, plus interest earned, is what makes up the figure of the cash value. Well, again, the equivalent amount of money you have in cash value, the life insurance company will also give you in the form of a line of credit. So now you're able to leverage the life insurance company to spend the same dollar twice. And the reason why I say that is because the money you have sitting in cash value is earning uninterrupted compound interest, right? It's not being touched. So therefore, your compound interest will never become interrupted. When you're taking loans out of the policy, you're not borrowing your own money. You're borrowing the life insurance carrier's money, and they're collateralizing your cash value. And this helps increase the wealth of the family and increase generational wealth, because now the family members can tap into these permanent life insurance policies and use it as creative financing to go fund all these different types of investments and or income producing assets. So I encourage you to jump into this and to dive more into this. Do some more due diligence. Watch more of my videos talking about the infinite banking concept and the Rockefeller Waterfall method, and the videos on my channel about trust. And make sure you also talk to people who know what they're doing. The first link in the description of this video is going to be a link to book a one-on-one with either myself or my team, where we can answer any questions you may have and also build out a strategic plan for you to see if this would even work for you. And there you have it, a snippet of the Rockefeller Waterfall method. If you found this video insightful, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so that you can continue to keep educating yourself on financial literacy. With that being said, thanks for watching, and until next time.